What's going on, guys? Welcome to BG Behind the Deals. I'm Tyler Wynn, your host, and we have a very special guest today, Martha Vancamp. I met her through our partner relationship, and I just thought she was such a rock star. I wanted to bring her in today and share her story and how she got into real estate and all that good stuff. But Martha, how you doing today?
I'm great, and I hope to not disappoint.
No, you're doing amazing. We were just talking earlier, and I was just like always blown away every time I talk to you. But one thing I noticed about your social media is you're always so positive, and I love that. I love being around people that start. I'm a big thing. Like I have my ritual in the morning where I
Yeah.
say gratitude and affirmation
Yeah.
stuff. What is your morning routine like?
My morning routine is as long as I can lay in bed until noon, I'm a happy girl. No, in all reality, I think we're on the same page.
Right.
It is a sense of gratitude. It's a
Right.
sense of great, deep appreciation for the people that you surround yourself.
100%.
And then you just get up and go.
That is so true. That is so true. How you start your morning is so important, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
No, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And I did look at, I saw, the things that you accomplish and, you have amazing story. And I don't know where you want to start, but I guess the first thing was I noticed on your thing, you said that on your social media, you're at 250 and you lost all this weight.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's not easy losing that much weight. And all that. So how did you do it? Like what sparked that?
If we even go back just a scooch further,
Yeah.
and that's a really short question to a really long answer, but I promise to give the Reader's Digest version.
For sure.
I think growing up since the age of 9, I
Mhm.
did struggle with my weight.
Right.
When I look back at pictures when I was 9, I wasn't necessarily big, heavy, fat, whatever
Yeah.
adjective you want to
And
use.
you're a tall lady.
That was exactly it. So in 4th grade at the age of 9,
Right.
I was in the front of the recess line, and this gentleman behind me, who is on social media, and one day I will call out his name and make him feel really bad. He looked at me and called me Big Bertha.
Oh no, that's not nice.
And I went home. Now you
Right.
got to understand, my dad was 6'8". He passed a
Wow.
couple years ago, so that's why I said
Gotcha.
was. But he grew up and
Mhm.
he actually had his right arm amputated when he was
What?
10. And that's a whole
Wow.
different story for a whole different podcast. But
Right.
so it's not like my dad ever really had an easy life, but he was an entrepreneur and a very smart gentleman.
Right.
So when I go home and I'm bawling and crying because I just got called Big Bertha, and it
Right.
wasn't that I was heavy,
Mhm.
it was that at the age of 9, I was 5 foot tall.
Oh
And
wow.
so I was taller
Wow.
than every other guy in the class. And
Right.
so
Right.
let's just make fun of her.
Yeah. People
So
are so mean, right?
they
It's
are.
just so
Kids are
crazy.
mean.
Yeah.
They're just mean. And adults can be mean
Oh,
as well, right?
100%. 100%.
So when I got home, I got no sympathy from my
Oh
father,
gosh.
which was fine. He had one arm, a little more life altering than me being called Big Bertha. So
Right.
that really started this whole horrible relationship with food.
Right.
Because I did want to lose weight. And even though I didn't need to lose weight, you
Mhm.
can't make yourself shorter.
Yeah.
And then I just continued to sprout up, and now barefoot, I'm 6 foot, and now I'll rock a pair of 3 or 5 inch heels. But all that to say, by the age of 40,
Mhm.
I had been working in the corporate world. My background was in television marketing,
Right.
loved that.
Right.
The last 20 years, I've been negotiating multi-million-dollar
I was about to bring that up.
contracts.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
for a television network
Right.
that places television shows across the US. So
Okay,
I've
gotcha.
always enjoyed working and talking with people.
Right.
And I think when people think about negotiating contract or sales, and I really hate that S word,
Same.
hate
It
it.
gives a bad
It really
like mojo,
does.
right? Like yeah.
I don't want to be known as a salesperson.
Right.
I want to be known as a relationship person
Right.
who cares about your hopes and your dreams and your wishes. So
Exactly.
for the last 20 years, I've been negotiating multi-million-dollar contracts for
So
television
crazy.
stations.
Wow.
But at the age of 40, and I'm
Mhm.
quite a bit older than that now,
Yeah.
I
You look amazing,
was,
by the way.
oh, thanks. This is a lot of work, Tyler.
We just talked about the suitcase.
It's a lot of work. At the age of 40, I was on my second marriage. We had full custody of 7 children. My husband was deployed quite a bit,
Yeah.
and I hit 275 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
And I was morbidly obese. And to be honest, it wasn't really the number on the scale that
Right.
bothered me.
Right.
It was the label of morbidly obese.
Yeah.
And at the age of 40, I said to myself,
Right.
this beep has got to stop. Like this crap has got to stop. I've got to figure it out. I tried everything else to lose weight like every other woman does,
Right.
but I have to figure this out. And so I started to study the
Mhm.
human body, science, the science of food, how our body processes food. And
Right.
I hate two things, math
Yeah.
and science.
Yes, 100%.
Right? But
Yep.
I knew that I had to do this for myself. So in
Mhm.
this very long process, I ended up becoming a double certified
Oh my
nutritionist,
gosh, that's amazing.
lost 145 pounds. And as I shared my story on social media, it started to blow up
Right.
organically.
Yep.
And organically, this company that I
Mhm.
created, BeFit Systems,
Mhm.
also blew up because I figured out that I knew the secret sauce to help women,
Yeah.
mostly women. I was going to attract women
Yeah.
to achieve their dream of losing weight.
Right.
You think about so many millions of people who are obese or just
Right.
unhealthy or struggling.
Right.
And so for 11 years,
Mhm.
I helped probably about my company, my coaches, and I helped about 10,000 women
That's
achieve the
amazing.
dream of losing weight
Yeah.
just by setting an
Yeah,
example.
that's
And
amazing.
we were writing all these customized meal plans. It wasn't even about working out.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was about fixing your relationship with food.
Yeah.
And this is how you need to eat because we were never taught how to
Oh,
eat,
no, and that's so
right?
crazy, right? In the school system, they're never mentioned about that.
No,
Never mentioned about
no,
that. Yeah.
no. So that all happened. And I did this for 11 years. And I realized that I myself was getting sick.
Mhm.
And so around the age of 51,
Mhm.
I had to have an emergency appendectomy. Got better for a couple days, was in the hospital, obviously, came
Right.
home, got better, and then I got really, really, really sick. And I thought,
What?
what is going
What
on?
happened?
We couldn't figure it out. I would stand up, I would pass out. I had no energy. I couldn't work out. I would try and work out. I would
Yeah.
pass out in the middle of the workout.
Right.
And we discovered and I landed back in the hospital thinking, am I having a heart attack? What is going on?
Right.
Through this process, I thought, I can't continue to the level that I'm doing with
Right.
helping others at the level that I was helping. Like it
Yeah.
was just too much, about
Yeah.
500 clients per month.
Yeah. That's a lot.
I realized with a lot of doctors' help that
Mhm.
I had Epstein-Barr virus. And so that, without getting too scientific, and then we'll
Right.
talk about real estate, I promise,
Yeah.
is that attacks the energy source of your cells, which is your mitochondria. And so I was whipped. I was done.
Wow.
And
Wow.
at that point, I thought nothing matters to me more
Mhm.
than my husband, my children, my relationship with God, and my own health.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, my chapter of helping other women
Mm.
achieve their dream of losing weight is
Yeah.
over.
Gotcha.
Divested the entire company, literally rested for 2 years, still negotiating these contracts.
Right.
That's like riding a bike for me. But
Yeah.
the emotional piece that goes into helping
Yeah.
people achieve their dreams, as you know,
Oh, yeah.
can be very taxing at
It
times,
is. It is. Right.
right?
It's you don't know how much energy it takes to run a business, and I know it's been in your blood with your dad being an entrepreneur, and now you're an entrepreneur. You
Yeah.
still are,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and like when you're giving yourself like
Right.
120% to other people, it's
And
draining
you're
to yourself.
never off.
You're never
You're
off.
always on.
Always on, 7 days a week,
Right.
24 hours. Right.
So in those 2 years of
Hmm.
resting, I realized I've got some core competencies here. Really good at marketing.
Yep.
At least I think so. I'm pretty good at negotiations
Right.
in a nice, positive way where everyone feels like they're winning.
Right.
But my greatest thing that I missed was
Right.
helping people achieve their dreams.
Right.
My husband and I have always loved real estate. We like to invest in rentals. If we
Yeah.
could buy a house every single year and move,
Right.
we would. We
Yeah.
just love real estate. And I thought, what's the next thing I could do to help people achieve their dreams? Why
Right.
am I not a realtor?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
100%.
that's how that
It just
started.
clicked, huh?
It clicked. I'm like,
Wow.
I love homes. I love looking at homes. I love negotiations. I love marketing. Why am I not taking the next step to
Right.
help couples or single people
Yeah.
or investors just make that step to realize their dreams? So
Yeah.
that's how I got into real
I think
estate.
you're like the total package. I mean, honestly,
I
I
don't know
mean,
about
you know
that.
how like it's funny how we don't grow up like, hey, I want to be a realtor. You know what I mean? And I didn't grow up wanting to be a lender, right? I just didn't know.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes things just fall in your lap, or just
Right.
things just happen for a reason, right?
They
And I
do.
think all the skills that you have being an entrepreneur helping people already for all these years, and then on top of that, you've been negotiating contracts,
Yeah.
and not just small contracts,
Yeah.
big contracts.
Yeah.
I think it just helps you become a better realtor that you are, right? So, and I know you invest too. You like to invest. You like in
We
rentals and
do.
like that, right?
We do.
So,
And
yeah.
it's interesting. So when we moved here 7 years ago,
Hmm.
I said to my husband,
Yeah.
because we had always lived in your typical neighborhood,
Right.
don't put me in that typical neighborhood
Cookie
in
cutter.
Florida where all the houses look the same. And there's
Right.
nothing against
Oh
that,
my
but it's
gosh.
just what I had always
Yeah.
done for 30 years.
Right.
I said, I want to live in an urban place.
Right.
It's got to be fun. It's got to be walkable.
Yeah.
I like to ride my bike. I want it to be pretty. I need unique houses.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we had one child left in the house and he was between ninth and 10th grade. And I was scared to death to move
School,
him,
yeah,
right?
school's important.
I had
Yeah.
never, of all the 7 kids, had never moved them. I had never been moved as a
Right.
child. So
Right.
I was really nervous about that. And I said, look, Stephen, we either move now
Mhm.
or we wait till my youngest, Carter,
Mhm.
is graduated high school.
Yeah.
Carter agreed. Let's move. He's pretty
Wow.
social, but I
Yeah.
think that can be hard on any
Oh,
kid,
yeah, just transitioning to a new
right?
school, you had all these friends already, right?
Absolutely. You're
And
ingrained in your community.
yeah.
And I said, so find me an urban, cool place to live,
Mhm.
but it has to have one of the best high schools.
I love that.
And so he said, I think you're going to like South Tampa.
Uh-huh.
And so we had the privilege of looking for about a year and a half before we knew we
Yeah,
needed to
that's
like move
awesome.
in
Plenty of
2018.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we looked at both areas,
Mhm.
north and south of South Tampa, both the
Right.
Robinson High School and Plant.
Yeah.
And we knew if we got into Robinson, we would prefer for him to be in the IB program. But
Right.
we found a gorgeous house in the middle of South Tampa that it was
Right.
in Plant.
That's awesome.
And so that's where we started.
Yeah, yeah.
And we got into the rental market
Mm.
because, we moved in 2018 and South Market's a little
It
pricey.
is,
It's
it
even
is.
pricier than living in Virginia where
Oh,
we
is it
had, oh
really?
yeah,
And
where we,
Virginia's pretty expensive.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we had to almost double our
That's so
mortgage
crazy.
to live in
Okay.
South Tampa. So that
Yeah.
was like,
Should we really wanna do this?
right, we got this. We're going to be okay.
Right.
Because we also have a strong faith base. But so
Right.
we moved and COVID.
Oh, man.
And no one's stocks are really doing anything
No.
during COVID. Your 401k, it's
Everything
not
stays.
right. But the one thing that changed, and
Yeah.
anyone who's lived through this realized
Mhm.
that, wow, there were a lot of people coming to Florida
Oh my
in
gosh.
COVID.
Oh my gosh.
And so we had this.
Why was that? What made you come during COVID? Like,
So we actually came pre-COVID.
okay, got it, got
And
it.
then COVID happened.
Got it. Okay.
And we're looking at our investments going, gosh, we would always like to get into the rental market
Right.
somewhere here in Florida. It didn't have to be South Tampa.
Right, right, right.
But we really wanted to have that passive income.
100%.
I call it mailbox money.
Yeah.
Even though it's direct deposit, like every
so
month
funny.
we got some mailbox money,
Exactly,
right? And we really
exactly.
didn't have to do a whole lot.
Exactly.
So by that point, we saw the equity of our home, even though we had only owned it 2 years.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Because people, as you knew, were flocking in
Oh, yeah.
from
Yeah.
New Jersey, New York,
Yeah.
California, all these states that were completely
Super
locked
tight.
down.
Yeah, super tight.
And this home that we had doubled
That's insane.
in 2 years.
Insane.
And while we loved the house, we looked at each other and said,
Mhm.
we should sell this,
Yep.
downsize for a
Smart.
short time,
Yep.
buy that rental. So like,
Mhm.
let's buy that next house,
Right.
still in South Tampa.
Yep.
Carter had graduated high school, so that was no longer really
Yeah.
a push or pull situation.
Exactly. You guys can live anywhere.
Right,
Yep.
we could live anywhere.
Yep.
Let's find a less expensive house
Right.
in a different part of South Tampa.
Yep.
Invest there,
Mhm.
sell this house,
Right.
basically go mortgage free from all the
Brilliant.
money that we
Yeah.
had because people
Yeah.
were paying out the wazoo
Oh, yeah.
for
And
these
at that
homes.
time, they were like paying 50, 100,000 over asking
Bidding
price.
war,
It was
crazy. They're paying
Yeah.
cash because they
Yeah.
moved from
Oh,
California. They have
exactly.
all
New
this
York.
money.
Exactly.
Right?
It's much cheaper here in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in Tampa.
Cheaper.
Yeah.
So we did that,
Mhm.
lived in this home.
Yep.
Well, I call it the tiny house. And we lived there 10 months.
Mhm.
And we're like, okay, we still kept looking every single day, and I was
Right.
not a realtor yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Still kept looking at other homes every single day, and so realized, okay, there's another home on the other side of South
Yeah.
Tampa, closer to Bayshore.
So you got to know South Tampa very
Oh,
well.
very well. North, south, east, west, the West Shore,
Yeah.
Port Tampa,
Right.
Ballast Point, all these
Yeah.
areas, Hyde
Uh-huh.
Park,
There you go.
very well. And that helped a lot
Mhm.
once I did get into real estate,
Yep.
even though I don't just focus on,
Of course.
I'll go anywhere
Of
to sell a
course.
house
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
help a buyer.
Yeah.
But very long story short, so we stayed in this tiny house for 10 months,
Mhm.
bought another house,
Amazing.
which is currently our primary house, but we've
Yep.
completely redone it. It
Yeah.
was a builder's grade home
Right.
that was mustard puke yellow
Oh
when we
my
bought it.
gosh.
I wanted nothing to do with it.
That's
But
hilarious.
my husband said, we should go look at this
Right.
house. With your taste, we can redo this.
That's smart.
We have some money.
Right.
So I made a deal with him. Before I ever move in, the
Mhm.
outside has to be painted, the inside has to be painted, the floors have to be changed, the kitchen cabinets have to be changed.
That's
Like
a big
basically,
list you got there.
right, because I didn't want to live through renovations. Who
Yeah.
wants to do that?
No, nobody does.
But we were
Mhm.
fortunate. And so we've lived there almost 3 years.
That's
The house
amazing.
is almost, we didn't take it down to the studs, but
Right.
pretty
Yeah, it's
much.
pretty much a brand new house.
Correct.
Yeah.
And do I want to move again? Yes. Do I keep looking at houses? Yes. But I think
Right.
one of the smartest things we did, and if I could encourage any of your listeners to
Right.
do this, is
Right.
really think about how can I get into the investment, the rental, the
Right.
mailbox money
Yeah.
situation,
100%.
because
Mhm.
that's going to, if you're playing the long game
Yeah.
financially, that's
Right.
always going to
Yeah.
be a really great place
Oh,
for
yeah.
someone to start.
I mean, growing up, that's all my parents instilled in us is like, buy property, buy property. It's the best investment. And
Yeah.
honestly, it has been. I think, especially those that bought or during
Yeah.
COVID or 2021 and 2019, around that
Yeah.
range, they have a lot of equity, number one. Number two, the interest rate's super low that they'll probably never ever get again. So they can convert that, right? They have the appreciation. They have the lower monthly payment, mortgage
Right.
payments. So they can convert it, like you said, like you were doing,
Yeah.
and rent that out, go buy the next one, or else
Yeah.
maybe sell it, maybe use that money to buy both, buy a rental,
Absolutely.
buy a primary too while you're at it,
Absolutely.
right? So there's so many different ways to chop it up or just get creative with
Yeah.
investing. But I
Yeah.
mean, again, you never go wrong. And I don't know about you, but I definitely think that our market in Florida in general, it's gonna appreciate, in the next few years, right? Even though right now people are like, oh, prices are going down. It's just leveling. It's not going down. It's
Correct.
just leveling and like it's
Correct.
just not appreciating at the higher value that it was in
Right.
2021 or 2020. So because we just don't have that crazy demand because everybody's locked in their house in other
Yep.
states, right?
Yep.
So again, hopefully, again, I really believe that our market's going to be great. And who doesn't want to be in a warm weather? And you got Disney, you got the beaches. I mean, I mean, this is a total package.
Winter is a choice.
Yeah,
Winter is a choice. So
exactly.
whether you're
Yep.
buying a secondary home,
Yeah.
which could also be a rental at times,
100%.
Airbnb, that sucker. But
Yes.
I think you're right. I think everyone is like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh,
Right.
this market with these interest rates,
Yeah.
it's just overwhelming. Where if
Right.
you step back and you think
Mhm.
historically, uh,
I think in the 88, like in the 80s, it was like,
thank you.
yeah,
I
it was
was
like
just going
double
to say
digit
that.
interest rate. Like I heard
Right.
15%, 18%, some crazy
Correct.
amount. Yeah.
I remember complaining to my
Uh-huh.
brother-in-law, who's about 10 years my senior.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, John, you're in your 60s. But I was ish complaining about
Yeah.
the current interest rates. And he
Yeah.
said, Martha,
Yeah.
when I bought my first house
Right.
in the 80s,
Yeah.
his interest rate was
It was
18%.
crazy. Can you guys imagine that? That's nuts.
It's nuts.
Yep.
So you're right. Everything's leveling. And
Yep.
while I think a lot of us who fortunately have those 2.5, 3.5% interest rates,
Right.
and that's another reason not to sell those properties, but
Right.
rather play the long game.
Exactly.
Don't refinance
No.
those.
No.
Stay with those properties as long as possible. If whether that's
100%.
your primary residence
Yeah.
or a
Yep.
rental.
Right.
But I don't think people should be scared of the interest rate right
No.
now because
Definitely
as you
not.
know, and you
Right.
should tell people, and you do
Right.
tell people,
Right.
there's ways to buy that
Oh
back
my gosh,
down,
yeah, 100%. You
right?
can buy it down, and if the market changes, with the interest rate gets lower, you can change that number. It's
Correct.
not like you're stuck forever,
Nope.
right? So that's why I think it's so important people understand that hey, there's different ways to, like you said, strategize to get your payment lower. There's so many options. When I first started the business like 10 years ago, there wasn't a 2-1 temporary buy. There wasn't like nobody was ever thinking about buying the rate down or
Right.
whatnot, right? So those options are available, and lenders understand like, hey, we have to lower, like make it housing affordable for people, and I think that's the big thing. And there's so many different programs right now, so. Opportunities galore. It's just people have to think outside the box, not just like, oh, it's so high, I don't want to do it. And guess what? There's families that are growing. I've been hearing a lot of people are
Yeah.
tired of waiting on the sidelines because
Right.
they're like, dang, I want to buy, but I know I'm waiting for the interest rate to go down. Guess what, guys? Reality is going to be setting in real soon. It's not changing anytime soon.
And how many more months or
Yeah,
years do you
yeah,
want to rent and be putting
yeah.
mailbox money in someone else's
Exactly. That
pocket?
too. That
Bite the
too.
bullet now. Talk
Yep.
to someone smart like you. Not that
Yep.
I'm knocking banks,
Yeah.
but until I got into the real estate business,
Right.
I had no concept of people like
Yeah.
you
Yep.
who have,
Resources.
resources and have these creative
Right.
ways of looking at
Mhm.
lending
Right.
and lending options.
Right.
When I was young, you just walked down to
To the
your
bank.
neighborhood bank and said, "Okay, what can I do? And what's the
Exactly.
interest rate?" And you're like, "Okay."
Yep. Yep.
But I think that's why it's so important to work with
Yep.
a lender
Right.
like you versus
Yep.
just waltzing into your
No, I
bank and
appreciate
saying,
that.
"Okay, give
Yeah.
me what you got."
Exactly. No, I
Right?
appreciate that. I think again, options, getting other opinions, I think it's always value right now, especially in this market. And work with a professional like you that's been around areas that knows your areas really well and knows how to negotiate, which is
Yeah.
huge, right? So
I think
yeah,
negotiation and a lot of
yeah.
things that realtors miss
Mhm.
is the importance of marketing.
100%. And your social media game is really good.
Oh,
I just want to let you know,
it can
hands down.
always be better. It's just something I love to do. It's something I love to educate. I
Right.
love to help. I love to be stupid, sarcastic, and silly.
You're so funny.
So I hope that people realize I also have a brain,
Yeah.
but I think it's just important for people
Yeah.
to feel comfortable with
Yeah.
whomever they're working with. And there are some fascinating trends
Yeah.
that are happening no matter where you live.
Right.
I know that was one thing you kind of wanted to talk about with
Yeah.
not only renting, but one of the most fascinating
Right.
trends that I've picked up in just the last couple weeks, specific to where I drive around, which is a lot of South Tampa,
Right.
is people are buying the house next to them,
Mhm.
tearing it down. Because let's be
Yes.
real,
Yes.
the land size, and we all pay for dirt,
Oh my
right?
gosh,
The
yeah.
land size that we pretty much live on in South Tampa is anywhere from a 5,000 square foot lot to maybe, if you're lucky, a 10,000 square foot
Right.
lot.
Yeah.
We're on postage stamps.
Mhm.
So what I'm seeing quite a bit, a lot of this in the last couple weeks is people who have their primary residence,
Mhm.
the house next to them doesn't even hit the market. You never see a for sale sign.
Right.
Somehow they're talking to their neighbor
Yep.
who might be in their 50s, 60s, 70s and, needs to
Yeah.
go,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
downsize, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
They're buying that house,
Right.
tearing that house down,
Mhm.
making a larger yard.
Mhm.
So what they're doing is they're keeping their primary residence, knocking down the house next to
Wow.
them,
That's smart.
fencing or gating it in,
Right,
right?
right.
So now they're sitting on a half acre
Yeah, and that's
lot
a gold mine.
in South
That's
Tampa.
a gold mine.
And so
Yeah.
think about it again, real estate always has to be the long game.
Right,
So they're
right.
sitting on their
Yeah.
primary residence with a lot.
Yeah.
They have this large lot that is now fully part of their parcel, their
Yeah. That's
estate.
brilliant. That's brilliant.
Whether they decide to sell that later, but they're putting up playgrounds, they're putting down
Yeah.
grass, they're throwing
Yeah.
in sod
It's
or
a
turf.
pickleball court.
That's a couple pickleball courts. So that's one of the biggest trends that I
Yeah.
just see starting right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I think it's a brilliant
I
idea.
think you're onto something because I do see those quote unquote ugly houses for sale in South Tampa, and you're like, man, who would want to buy this? But I'm thinking it happened to my neighbor actually, where in front of me, his house was probably one of, again, it was a smaller home,
Sure.
older couple, lived
Sure.
there for many years, and one day he was just gone. Like he had a moving truck, he was gone, and
No
then
for sale sign.
no
You're
for sale
like,
sign.
has
And
he just gone to CIA witness
I was like,
program?
what did he do?
Right.
And then you notice it on Zillow, like, hey, here's a builder saying, hey, we're building this massive house for $3 million. It's going to be constructed soon. I'm like, holy crap, right? So again, there's so many different ways, like you said, to invest. Even though it's an ugly house, there's so many creative ideas. You can just keep the land, hold
Right.
it
Long
appreciate
game.
not just homes, but lands too, right? Land
Right.
does too as well.
Right.
So yeah, so I think you're onto something there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Martha, we have to wrap it up
All
today. It
right.
was a pleasure.
We could talk for
I
hours.
know, I know. I really enjoyed talking to you. So,
Thank you for having me.
yeah, of course. But where can the viewers find you?
You know what? The easiest part is
Mhm.
on my social. I'm active not only on Facebook,
Yeah,
but Instagram,
nice.
Martha Van Camp.
Yep,
Google me.
yep,
I work out of the South Tampa area, but
yep.
I
Goes
sell
everywhere.
houses
Everywhere. She
everywhere.
really does, guys. I
Everywhere.
can attest to that. So, all right. Well, hey,
Thank
appreciate
you.
you, Martha.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
absolutely.
Yep.